Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Green Hack. Imagine walking through two beautiful gardens on the same spring morning. In the first garden, your eyes are immediately drawn to bright colors. Red flowers, purple blooms, golden leaves. Every corner seems designed to catch your attention. In the second garden, something different happens. The colors may be softer, the flowers may be fewer, yet somehow, the garden stays with you long after you leave. It feels familiar, even if you have never been there before. It feels connected to something deeper than appearance. And that difference reveals one of the most fascinating contrasts between many American and Japanese gardens. Most people choose plants for understandable reasons. We want beauty, we want color, we want something that makes our homes and landscapes feel more welcoming. There is nothing unusual about that. In fact, it is one of the reasons gardening brings so much joy. A garden filled with flowers can completely transform a space. A colorful tree can become the highlight of an entire yard. Every season brings new opportunities to enjoy different combinations of color and texture. In many American gardens, color often plays a central role. Gardeners carefully select plants that will create visual interest throughout the year. Spring bulbs announce the arrival of warmer weather. Summer flowers fill garden beds with vibrant displays. Autumn foliage turns entire neighborhoods into landscapes of red, orange, and gold. The garden becomes a celebration of changing color. This approach has many advantages. Color attracts attention. It creates excitement. It gives every season its own personality. A homeowner driving down the street may instantly notice a yard filled with beautiful blooms. Friends and neighbors often admire gardens that provide strong visual impact. Color becomes a language that everyone can understand. Walk through many American garden centers and you will quickly notice how plants are often presented. Labels highlight flower color. Displays focus on seasonal interest. Garden catalogs showcase dramatic combinations of blooms and foliage. The message is clear. These plants will make your landscape more beautiful. Again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that goal. Beauty matters. Gardens should bring happiness. A colorful landscape can improve not only the appearance of a home, but also the experience of living there. Many of the most beloved American gardens are built around exactly this idea. But what if beauty is not the only reason someone chooses a tree? That question begins leading us toward a different gardening tradition. In Japan, people certainly appreciate beauty. Japanese gardens are admired throughout the world for their elegance and visual harmony. Yet many traditional planting choices are influenced by something beyond appearance. Certain trees and plants are valued not only for how they look, but for what they represent. A tree may remind people of a season. It may remind them of a place. It may remind them of a stage of life. Over time, the plant becomes connected to memory. This idea can feel unusual in a culture that often focuses on immediate visual results. We tend to evaluate a plant based on how it looks today. Is it healthy? Is it colorful? Does it improve the landscape? Japanese garden traditions sometimes ask an additional question. What story will this plant tell in the future? Imagine planting a small maple tree. On the day it is planted, it may seem insignificant. Years pass. The tree grows. Children play beneath it. Family gatherings take place nearby. Seasons come and go. Gradually, the tree becomes linked to experiences. It becomes part of the family's story. Eventually, people no longer see only a tree, they see memories attached to that tree. This transformation happens in every culture, but Japanese gardens often acknowledge it more intentionally. Certain trees are chosen because they create meaningful seasonal moments. Cherry blossoms announce spring. Maples mark the arrival of autumn. Ginkgo trees become symbols of passing time. The plants help people notice not only the landscape around them, but also the passage of their own lives. This creates an interesting contrast with many American gardening traditions. Americans often plant for beauty. Japanese gardens often plant for memory. That does not mean one approach is better than the other. In fact, most gardeners probably appreciate both. We enjoy beautiful flowers and we value meaningful places. We admire color and we treasure memories. The difference lies in which idea receives greater attention. And once you begin looking at gardens through the lens of memory, something remarkable happens. A plant is no longer just decoration. It becomes a witness. It quietly observes years of change. It remains present through celebrations, challenges, arrivals, and farewells. The garden begins telling a story that extends far beyond color alone. The most surprising thing is that many of the most meaningful trees were never planted for that purpose. Their significance grows slowly over time, and that raises an important question. How does an ordinary tree become something people remember for the rest of their lives? If many American gardens begin with the question, "What will look beautiful here?" many Japanese gardens often begin with a different question. What will this place feel like many years from now? That small shift in perspective changes the entire relationship between people and plants. Japanese gardens are often admired for their beauty, but beneath that beauty lies something deeper. Many of the trees chosen for traditional landscapes are valued not only because they are attractive, but because they help people notice time. A cherry tree is not simply a flowering tree. A maple is not simply a source of autumn color. A ginkgo is not simply another ornamental species. Each becomes a seasonal marker. Each becomes part of a recurring experience that returns year after year. Imagine walking beneath the same cherry blossoms every spring for 20 years. The flowers themselves may last only a short time, yet the experience becomes part of your life. You remember where you stood. You remember who was with you. You remember the season when everything seemed to begin again. Eventually, the tree becomes connected to memories far beyond its appearance. This may be one of the reasons Japanese gardens often feel different from many other landscapes. They are not designed only to be seen. They are designed to be revisited. The same tree is expected to reveal something new every year. A spring blossom is followed by summer shade. Summer is followed by autumn color. Autumn gives way to winter structure. The tree becomes a companion through the passing seasons. Many American gardeners experience something similar, even if they do not describe it this way. Think about an old apple tree planted decades ago near a farmhouse. At first, it may have been planted for fruit. Years later, it becomes associated with family gatherings, childhood memories, and changing generations. The original reason for planting it may fade into the background. What remains is the story attached to it. Japanese gardens often recognize this transformation from the very beginning. Rather than asking only how a tree will look, they also consider how it will age. How will it change? What kind of relationship will people develop with it? How will it contribute to the identity of a place? These questions encourage a longer view of gardening. The garden is no longer treated as a project measured in months. It becomes something measured in decades. This long perspective is especially visible in the trees that people remember most. Across Japan, some of the most beloved trees are not necessarily the largest or most colorful. They are often the trees connected to important places and shared experiences. A cherry tree near a river, a maple beside a temple path, a ginkgo standing quietly near a village shrine. Their value comes from the memories they help create. The remarkable thing is that memory often grows slowly and invisibly. No one plants a young tree and immediately feels nostalgic about it. Meaning accumulates gradually, season after season, year after year. The tree remains while life changes around it. A child walks beneath it on the way to school. Years later, the same person returns as an adult. The tree is still there. Parents become grandparents. Neighbors move away. Communities change. The tree remains. Over time, the tree becomes more than part of the landscape. It becomes part of personal history. This idea resonates strongly with many older gardeners because they have already witnessed it in their own lives. Perhaps there is a tree near the home where you grew up. Perhaps there is a flowering shrub planted by a parent or grandparent. Perhaps there is a favorite tree you visit every autumn. The plant itself may be ordinary. What makes it extraordinary are the memories attached to it. That is why the most meaningful gardens are not always the most spectacular ones. A garden filled with bright flowers can be beautiful, A garden filled with memories can be unforgettable. This distinction becomes increasingly important as people grow older. In youth, we are often attracted to what is new. New flowers, new varieties, new designs, new colors. There is excitement in discovery, but as the years pass, many gardeners begin noticing something else. Certain plants become important not because they are new, but because they have remained. A mature maple tree may no longer surprise anyone with its existence. Yet every autumn it delivers something deeper than surprise. It delivers continuity. It reminds people that another year has passed. It connects the present moment with countless moments that came before. And perhaps that is the hidden power of memory in a garden. A garden does not preserve the past. It reconnects us to it. This is where the comparison between color and memory becomes especially interesting. Color attracts our attention in the present moment. Memory connects that moment to the rest of our lives. Both have value. Both enrich a garden, yet they create very different experiences. One encourages us to look. The other encourages us to remember. And once a tree becomes associated with memory, its importance often grows far beyond its beauty. There are certain trees people never forget. Not because they were the tallest, not because they produced the most flowers, not because they won awards or attracted attention. People remember them because those trees became part of their lives. Almost everyone has a story like this. Sometimes it is a tree in a childhood backyard. Sometimes it is a flowering tree beside a family home. Sometimes it is a tree planted by a parent, a grandparent, or a friend who is no longer here. The tree itself may be ordinary to everyone else. Yet to the person who remembers it, that tree is irreplaceable. This is where gardening begins to move beyond landscape design and enters something much deeper. Gardens are often discussed in terms of beauty, maintenance, and plant selection. Yet the gardens people remember most are usually remembered because of experiences, not appearances. Think about a family apple tree standing beside an old farmhouse. To a visitor, it may simply look like another fruit tree. To the family that grew up around it, it tells a completely different story. It remembers summer afternoons. It remembers
These blooms are
children climbing
just
its branches.
magnificent this
It remembers
afternoon.
conversations that took place beneath its shade.
The seasonal
The tree
beauty
becomes a
is so
silent witness to
satisfying.
generations of life. Across
A
Japan,
peaceful
similar
presence here
stories
among the
exist around cherry
trees.
trees, maples, ginkgo trees, and ancient shrine trees. People return to them year after year. They photograph them, they gather beneath them, they measure the passing of time through them. These trees become landmarks not only in the landscape but also in memory. What makes these stories so powerful is that they are rarely planned. No one can predict which tree will become meaningful. No one can know which view will someday trigger a memory decades later. Meaning develops slowly. A season at a time, a year at a time, a life at a time. This brings us to the central comparison of the entire video. Americans often plant for color. Japanese gardens often plant for memory. At first, these ideas seem very different. One focuses on what we see. The other focuses on what we remember. Yet both begin with the same desire. People want to create places that bring joy. Color can do that beautifully. A garden filled with flowers can brighten an entire day. Vibrant colors attract attention and create energy. They make outdoor spaces feel alive. There is a reason colorful gardens remain so popular. They create immediate emotional rewards. Memory works differently. Memory is slower. It grows quietly. Instead of creating a powerful first impression, it creates a lasting connection. A colorful flower bed may be admired for a season. A meaningful tree may be remembered for a lifetime. That does not mean gardeners must choose one approach over the other. In reality, the most memorable gardens often contain both. They offer beauty in the present while creating memories for the future. They provide something to enjoy today and something to cherish years from now. As gardeners grow older, many begin to appreciate this balance more deeply. Early in life, it is natural to focus on what a garden can become. We look forward, we plan, we plant, we imagine future growth. Later, we often find ourselves looking backward as well. We begin noticing which plants remained important over time, which trees stayed with us, which corners of the garden still hold meaning after many years. That shift is not about gardening, it is about perspective. The garden simply reveals it. Perhaps that is why older trees often feel so powerful. They remind us that beauty and meaning are not always created at the same speed. Beauty can appear in a single season. Meaning often requires decades. And yet both begin with a single planting. A small tree placed in the ground. A simple decision. A hopeful act. No one knows exactly what that tree will become. No one knows which memories will gather around it. But every meaningful tree begins the same way. Someone plants it, someone cares for it, someone returns to it again and again. Eventually, the tree becomes part of a story larger than itself. That may be the most beautiful lesson hidden inside many Japanese gardens. A garden is not simply a collection of plants, it is a collection of moments. Some moments last a season. Some moments last a lifetime. So the next time you choose a plant for your garden, consider asking yourself two questions. The first is familiar. Will this look beautiful? The second may be more important. What memories might this create? You may discover that the most valuable plant in your garden is not the one with the brightest flowers or the most dramatic colors. It may be the one that quietly becomes part of your life. Thank you for spending time with us here at The Green Hack. If this video brought back a special memory, we would love to hear about it. Is there a tree, a flower, or a garden that still means something to you after all these years? Share your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And in our next episode, we will explore another fascinating difference between American and Japanese approaches to gardens, design, and everyday life. Until then, take a closer look at the trees around you. Some of them may already be carrying memories you have not yet noticed.